Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Patriots Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm John Rook. I'm the voice here at Gillette Stadium for your six-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. You know, the 2021 season marks the 20th anniversary of the Patriots' first World Championship, which they won, I know you'll remember, as 14-point underdogs when they shocked the world and knocked off the greatest show on turf. Remember those guys? The St. Louis Rams, 20-17 in Super Bowl 36. That win launched one of the greatest dynasties in professional sports history. And so here we are, 20 years later, gathering to honor a dominant defensive player and a huge part of that team, Richard Seymour. He was, hard to believe, Richard was just a rookie during that first Super Bowl season. And additionally, of course, we're here to celebrate somebody who truly embodied the spirit of the New England Patriots and still does. Longtime cheerleading director Tracy Sormanti, who passed away last December, but now will forever live in the Patriots Hall of Fame. We'd be remiss if we didn't also mention some people very dear to all of us. The Patriots Hall of Fame lost another member early last month when running back Sam Cunningham passed away unexpectedly just 5 days after one of Richard Seymour's former teammates, David Patton, died tragically. Additionally, Patriots Hall of Famer Kevin Falk sadly lost his daughter, Kevion, on September 13th. Before we proceed with today's ceremonies, can we pause for a moment just to remember David, Sam, Kevion, and Tracy, as well as all Patriots we've lost since we last gathered? Thank you. Now, Richard Seymour has had to be patient to make it to this stage today. Patriots fans elected him in 2020, but the pandemic, of course, delayed his celebration. Seymour created many memorable moments to make it to this stage, and for all of us during his playing career. Today it's our turn to make this moment memorable for him and his family. And for all the cheers that Tracy Sormanti led, today is her day to receive them. So let's hear it. You ready to get started? No. That's not that. No, that's weak. That's weak. This is Jets week. Are you ready to get started? Much better. Passing grade on that one. Each year, this event is made special partially because of the Patriots alumni that return to honor our newest inductees. So before introducing the alumni here today, we first have some very special guests that we would like to welcome. They represent what every player tries to attain in 6 of the most memorable seasons in franchise history. 6 of my best friends right behind me here. This afternoon, we are honored to welcome back more than 25 Patriot alumni, including 5 Patriot Hall of Famers. Collectively, they represent more than 170 years of Patriot service, covering 6 different decades from the 1960s through the 2010s, and they touch all 6 of these Vince Lombardi trophies, standing proudly behind me. Please provide a warm welcome as I introduce the Patriots alumni in attendance today. Please welcome Coach Rick Buffington. Running back, Bob Capadona. Tackle, Ed Ellis. Defensive end, Jarvis Green. Wide receiver, Marcus Hackett. Linebacker, Ilya Jaroschuk. Defensive back, Tabucky Jones. Wide receiver, Cedric Jones. Center, Dan Copen. Wide receiver, Randy Vataha. Tackle, David Vienne. Defensive lineman, Ty Warren. And tight end, Jermaine Wiggins. Fans, we also have 5 Patriot Hall of Famers here to welcome today's honorees. Before we introduce them, I would like to recognize Mr. Mark Santos, who is here representing his father, Patriots Hall of Fame broadcaster Gil Santos. Mark, right up here in front. To begin, this player defined the team concept that has been the trademark of this recent championship era. He played offense, defense, and special teams during his 15-year Patriot career from 1993 to 2007. He is the team's all-time leading punt returner, ranked 2nd in receptions and 4th in receiving yards. He also happened to intercept 3 passes while playing defensive back in 2004 when he helped the Patriots to their 3rd Super Bowl title in 4 years. Please welcome home 2012 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Troy Brown! Next, he's the only player in NFL history to return 4 consecutive interceptions for touchdowns. His intensity set the tone for the entire team. During his 13-year career, he helped lead the Patriots to 8 division championships, 5 conference titles, and 3 Super Bowl championships. Bill Belichick once described him as the perfect Patriot. Please welcome 2013 inductee, Teddy Bruschi. He is the franchise's all-purpose yards record holder. Finished his 13-year career in New England ranked 5th in rushing yards and 5th in receptions with 431, which also is the most ever by a Patriot running back. He helped the Patriots to 3 Super Bowl championships. Please welcome 2016 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Kevin Falk! He was the first draft pick selected under the ownership of Robert Kraft. He was one of the cornerstones of the team's success in winning the Super Bowl in 2001, 2003, and 2004. He owns the NFL record with 16 postseason sacks and set the NFL mark for most sacks in a postseason game with 4.5. Please welcome back 2015 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Willie McGinnis! He was feared by opponents as one of the greatest linebackers to ever play the game and is the franchise record holder with 100 career sacks. He holds the team record for most sacks in a season with 18.5 in 1984, and his 35 sacks by a linebacker over a 2-year span remain an NFL record. He was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008 after spending his entire career with the Patriots. Please welcome Patriot and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Andre Tippett! And now, for our newest member of the Patriots Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 2020 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, Richard Seymour! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patriot Team President, Mr. Jonathan Kraft.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Thank you all for being here today. This is our 13th Patriot Hall of Fame induction, and when we built Gillette Stadium, we imagined that when we were building it, that we would build a Hall of Fame. We did it 5 years later. And for us, we wanted a place where we could not only honor great men like this, and the achievements of the franchise, but we also very much wanted to create a place that had a purpose beyond that. And in partnering with our naming partner, Raytheon, we turned it into an interactive, Hall of Fame that actually teaches you things about math and science while you're celebrating the history of the Patriots. And in the time that the hall's been open, we've had over 1.25 million visitors. But in addition to those visitors, we do 80,000 school children a year, 20,000 school children a year who come to the hall Monday through Friday during the school year and learn how football wouldn't be possible without math and science. And for us, that's really important because we've all learned the importance of science over the last few years, and not enough, that's true. It's not a political statement, it's just a fact. And not enough young people in America are being inspired to pursue careers in math and science. So we hope, in a small way, the hall, presented by Raytheon, our great partner, who are keeping all of our servicemen and women safe, who are serving overseas, that this will serve to be a foundation to the great new scientists and mathematicians of the future. So welcome all of you. It's my privilege to induct Tracy Sormanti, and we're going to start Tracy's induction ceremony with a video that tells you a little bit about her.
Under the direction of Robert Kraft, the Patriots organization has been blessed with great coaching, including the greatest coach of all time in Bill Belichick. But no coach brought more style and grace to the Patriots sidelines than Tracy Sormanti.
We have a lot of talent in this room. I wish I could pick all of you.
In 1994, after concluding her cheerleading career, Tracy was hired by Kraft as the coach of the Patriots cheerleading squad.
Tracy was the director for the past several decades, and she really started the Patriots cheerleaders, and she really built this program. She wasn't just a director, but she was a coach, a mentor, a friend.
What is true is if you want something bad enough, you have to work for it. You have to plan it out. You have to plan it out thoroughly and commit to it every single minute.
One of Tracy's signature achievements was the tireless work she and her team performed in New England communities, as well as on USO tours around the globe. Tracy inspired many during her 3-year journey with cancer. Her posthumous induction into the Patriots Hall of Fame will ensure her legacy will be preserved for generations to come.
So you pretty much have to be amazing.
She wanted us to continue this amazing program and make it better than ever. And I think she would be really proud, and I know she's smiling up there.
Be proud. You're really, really great. And today's a hard day for me. I'm very, very proud of all of you.
When you see Tracy, you just want to smile. You just want to smile. Tracy started her lifelong association with the Patriots in 1983 when she became the youngest member of the cheerleading squad. And she cheered in '83 and she cheered in '84, and the team disbanded the squad after that. It didn't get restarted for another 7 years. It restarted in 1991. And even though Tracy had been removed from it, not surprisingly, she came right back. She obviously made the team, and she cheered from 91 to 93. And in 93, she was now the oldest member of the squad. And that season, she represented the Patriots at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. We had no players in 93 who represented the team. Tracy was the sole representative. And we bought the team in '94, and one of the first hires that we had to make was somebody to be the head of the cheerleaders. And we were going to do a search. So we asked two of the people that worked with us to interview the current team members to understand what you want in somebody to run the program. And when they were done with the interviews, they came back to my dad and I, and they said, we don't need to do a job search. The person's already here. The person already exists. Every member of the squad speaks about her with such respect and admiration, and it's Tracy Sormanti. So we offered Tracy the job. And, you know, I'm going to let others decide, but I think hiring Tracy to run the cheerleaders or drafting Willie McGinnis, one of those was the two best decisions of '94. We made a lot of bad ones. Those two were good. When Tracy took the program over, she really upped the professionalism and the focus and the seriousness. And there were 5 core characteristics to what she wanted to see in the members of her team and what she wanted to help further develop in those members to get them launched on a great professional career. The first 2 were dedication and commitment. I don't think people fully appreciate the amount of dedication and commitment you need if you're going to have a world-class cheerleading squad. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of late nights, and you have to be willing as a young person to give that time up and be passionate about it. And she wanted to see that. But she also wanted to see accountability and responsibility. When you're a part of a team, any of these gentlemen up here or any of these gentlemen sitting down there will tell you, if you're not accountable, if you're not willing and able to be accountable to others, you cannot be a successful part of a team. And then responsibility, young people with lots of time commitments, you know, forced upon them, don't always hit them all. And it was critical to Tracy that you have that sense of responsibility too. And the last characteristic that was so important to her was having a positive mental attitude, because she thought that being a Patriot cheerleader, the most important thing wasn't the routines on Sunday afternoon on the field, but it was acting as an ambassador in all the work you do far away from Gillette Stadium, visiting children in hospitals, visiting old age homes, helping to elevate the profile of philanthropies in the community. And above all else, the thing that was most important to Tracy was going on overseas missions. Our men and women who were serving away from their families, who wanted a touch of football, wanted a touch of home, and in her career, she made visits to over 30 countries and 24 forward bases. Forward bases are much more dangerous than football fields. She loved, we would get letters from generals and admirals and colonels and people she met and say, we've never seen, you know, some programs in the NFL like to do reality TV shows, some cheerleading programs, and draw attention to themselves. But we'd get these letters, and they would say, there's no cheerleading program that matches this. And Tracy Sormanti, they know leadership in the military. They would say she was the ultimate leader. So Tracy's place in the Hall of Fame was solidified many, many years ago. Her contributions to the franchise, both here, but well beyond and on a global basis, acting as an ambassador, earned her a spot in this Hall of Fame whenever her career ended. Unfortunately, her induction is happening today much, much too soon, but it is very, very well deserved. Tracy, it was an honor and a privilege to work with you. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. And I'd like to call up, I'd like to call up Tracy's life partner, Dennis Brolin, to say a few words and accept. Get Robert. Will you go get Robert?
Hi, everyone. I'd like to start by voicing my sincere gratitude to Mr. Kraft, Jonathan, and Dan Kraft for honoring such a remarkable woman. Tracy, as most of us know, was a very private woman who dedicated her life to an organization that she held in the highest regard. That being said, I can stand up here and tell you what Tracy has achieved, but that's not what Tracy would have done. She would have told you all about the accomplishments of this legendary organization and her team over the past 32 years. She also would have talked about the men and women for having the determination, the fortitude, the dedication to dedicate a portion of their lives to the most sought-after team in the NFL, the New England Patriot cheerleaders. I truly believe, and I'm sure every former cheerleader knew who started the sayings, the Patriot way. Do your job and no days off. These have always been part of Tracy's program since day one. Perfection in Tracy's eyes was only as good as the last dance, the last performance, and the last kick line. Get it right, ladies, or it's going to be a long night. Tracy was so much more than a coach. She was a mentor, a friend, and sometimes a mom to all the men and women throughout the years. I can tell you in the last 3 weeks of Tracy's life, I read letters sent to her from you. I was overwhelmed with the amount of respect and gratitude that was communicated in these letters. Most stated that Tracy taught you more than just choreography. It was about life lessons. The importance of self-respect and the respect of others will allow you to achieve greatness every day of your life. We'd like to thank you, Tracy, for the many gifts you have given us and all the memories that we will carry on in our hearts forever. I love you, Trey. And once again, Mr. Kraft, you were more than an owner, you were more than a boss. You were like a dad to her. She loved you, she loved the family, she loved this organization, she loved all her girls. Thank you so much for being Tracy's best friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd now please turn your attention back to the video boards for some highlights from Richard Seymour's Hall of Fame career.
Patriots selection of University of Georgia defensive lineman Richard Seymour with the 6th pick overall in the 2001 draft was met with more than mild surprise.
Gonna be hit, gonna be sacked. Richard Seymour.
As a Pro Bowler in 5 straight seasons, including 3 as a first-team All-Pro, Seymour was named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's All-Decade team for the 2000s.
Just that attitude, that toughness. I mean, Richard was a big dude, 6'6", 305 pounds, and he was an athlete.
Bledsoe play action, going to be hit. Sack, fumble. Ball is loose. Picked up by Richard Seymour at the 40, 45, left sideline 50, 45, 40. Down the left sideline, Richard Seymour goes the distance. Touchdown, Patriots.
But it was just his consistency, it was his attitude, and it was just his effort every single day, and his leadership was huge.
But numbers and honors don't fully define the role Seymour played, often requiring him to take on 2 blockers at a time in helping the Pats develop one of the NFL's all-time great defenses.
And I'm so extremely proud of Richard, how hard he worked. He deserves everything he gets. Not only does he deserve the Patriots Hall of Fame, but he deserves the Canton Hall of Fame.
Now it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce the chairman and CEO of the New England Patriots, Mr. Robert Kraft.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. You know, if you want to be successful building anything, you start with a strong foundation. Otherwise, everything you attempt to construct has the potential to crumble. For the Patriots, Richard Seymour was a foundational player. We drafted him 6th overall in the '01 draft, 6'6", and actually he was 317 pounds. He was a rock, the real rock. He provided the foundation from which we built one of the most dominant defenses in franchise history, and really the first dynasty of the millennium. He was the rock. He had the size, strength, power, and athleticism to wreak havoc in the trenches. Coach Belichick has always valued versatility, and Richard proved to be the perfect complement to our defense. He was athletic enough to play end in the 3-4, strong enough to play tackle in the 4-3, and yes, stout enough, even at 6'6", to play the nose when needed. As a two-gap defender for much of his career, Richard's job was to clog the middle and occupy as many blockers as possible. As a result, he never accumulated gaudy tackle records, but his play up front provided opportunities for the linebackers behind him to excel. And did they ever? His NFL peers recognized his impact on the field, voting him to 5 consecutive Pro Bowls. He was a 4-time All-Pro, and an honor he earned at 2 different positions. As a 4-time team captain, Richard led by example. In addition to being a defensive All-Pro, he unselfishly contributed to offense and special teams as well. He still holds the Patriots' career record with 7 blocked field goals. "20 years ago, many pundits predicted we'd take one of the high-profile receivers that were available. Drafting a D lineman may have been a gamble, but we truly hit the jackpot." In his 8 seasons with the Patriots, Richard propelled the team to 6 division titles, 4 conference crowns. His impact was immediate. In his rookie year, we won our first Super Bowl in franchise history. In his first 4 years, the Patriots became just the 2nd team in over a 100-year history of the NFL to win 3 Super Bowl titles in 4 years. As a Patriot Hall of Famer, he'll forever be remembered as one of the greatest players in franchise history. But I will always remember him as a gentle giant with a huge smile and a great laugh. We shared some wonderful memories together. Now, I'm truly blessed to have the privilege of owning the Patriots. And among the many perks I enjoy are building relationships with players during their careers here. Richard was always a very special person. He arrived in New England as a young man with a strong family and Christian values. Knowing that, I invited Richard and his beautiful wife, Tanya, on a mission trip to Israel. He was one of the first Patriot players I ever extended that opportunity to. Spending time with them in the Holy Land is an experience I'll never forget. Those kinds of memories bond you forever. Richard is now a professional poker player, a skill, no doubt, he honed while negotiating multiple contracts with the Honorable Bill Belichick. He currently owns the distinction of being the only professional poker player who is also a 3-time Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist. Just a warning to all the other poker players, I would never bet against Richard. Today we honor Richard with the presentation of his red jacket, a color that this former Georgia Bulldog has worn very well. I'd be willing to bet that it won't be his last Hall of Fame jacket. Patriot fans, it's my honor to present the 30th member of New England Patriots Hall of Fame, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Richard Seymour.
Yeah, get a little sip here. I need a sip of water right now. Actually, when I was sitting over here just a moment ago, Mr. Kraft mentioned to me, and if the cheerleaders don't mind standing for me for a second, all the cheerleaders that came for Tracy. Yeah. You ladies are truly making Tracy proud right now, and I'm sure she's looking down from heaven right now, thanking you for being here and honoring her legacy. So thank you for being here. I'm honored to be here today. I actually think this may be like the third or fourth year eligibility into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and as I stand here looking at my beautiful family, friends, teammates, colleagues, proud supporters of football, a fan base that is as passionate about the Patriots as any fan base in all of sports. New England, I have one question. What took so damn long? You know what? But to that point, it actually took me a while to get involved in football myself. I'll tell you a true story. My mom, she took me to my first football tryout, and I was in the 8th grade. I was going to play against the high schoolers. And as we got there, the first kid that I saw, he had a beard. And I'm like, and not just any kind of beard. he had a matte light beard in the wintertime. And I'm looking at my mom and I'm just kind of thinking, well, she's not gonna say anything. I'm in the 8th grade. I'm going to the high school to play against these kids. And the next kid, again, in high school, I'm in the 8th grade. The next kid, he was probably about 6'3", 300 pounds. And now I'm really looking at my mom's side eye. I'm like, it's just me and my mom in the car, and I'm just asking her like, I'm just looking at her like, nah, I'm not going. I'm definitely not going to play against these guys right now. I'm just thinking, what kind of parent was going to push me to... As it turns out, it was pretty damn good parenting. I'll say this. I say this about my mom. My mom is one of the nicest and most compassionate women that I know. I'll say this. Maybe about 3 years ago, we're at the doctor's office. My mom had open heart surgery. And when we're sitting in the doctor's office, the doctor said, Mr. Seymour, your mom has 90% blockage in 4 arteries. 4 arteries, 90% blockage. She said, but we're going to take good care of her, which they did. We had a very successful surgery. My wife and the kids were there. And not only is my mom one of the nicest women that I know, but now she's also one of the strongest women that I know. So, Mom, thank you. Mom, thank you for being a constant example for me in life growing up, you and my dad. I tell everybody all the time, I had one of the most balanced childhoods ever growing up. My mom gave me the nurturing side, my dad gave me the tough love. Like, my dad was my hero growing up. And my dad taught me the value of hard work. He taught me to treat people the right way. He taught me to honor and do the little things right. And so, as Mr. Kraft said, as I think about growing up and having a balanced childhood for the example that my mom and my dad set for me, as a young man, it was a great example to have. So thank you, Mom and Dad. Although I wasn't mentally ready yet, my family and my parents knew that I'd rise to the challenge. My parents believed in me even long before I believed in myself. And like I said, my dad and my uncles are who taught me the game of football. It was a church right beside our house. On Sundays, it had, obviously the cars were in the parking lot, but outside of Sunday, it was just an open grass field. And that's where I honed my skills. My ancestors went to that church as well. My ancestors, all of my family went there. And so even when I got tired, even when I was discouraged, I leaned on that spirit that I had honed practicing there. And so I trusted in that spirit. I would not quit, and I would not be denied. To be here today is a great honor. My years as a Patriot were some of the most rewarding of my life. And let me tell you something, New England. In the months leading up to the draft, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. Coming out of the University of Georgia, they was like, Richard, hey, you're going to be a top 10 pick. These were the teams. I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I wanted to go someplace warm. Hey, I'm from the South, and playing in the cold was like playing against those high schoolers when I was in the 8th grade. Why make life harder? And that's what I thought. But I was wrong there too. Because in fact, the luckiest breaks in my life were being picked by the Patriots. When I joined this great franchise, thank you. When I joined this great franchise, I was coming to a seasoned team. And most reporters would probably say a seasoned team. I know a few reporters would say, they over the hill, they're a little older group. right? But they weren't. I was a young kid, I was talented, but I had a lot to learn. I was fortunate to be around veterans who were very generous. And my first year, I went around carrying their pads and getting them coffee. I still remember some of these orders to this day. I know Vinatieri, he wanted the coffee rolls, Ty wanted everything in his coffee. So even to this day, I still could make a few orders at Dunkin', right? But I was happy to do it because in exchange, they shared their experience, they shared their knowledge, they also shared their savviness. Thank you, gentlemen. Definitely appreciate it. My teammates taught me the nuances of the game. They showed me how football was a mental game. They modeled for me how to sacrifice individual success for team success. That was our key to our greatness. We never cared who got the accolades as long as we got the win. I never wanted anyone to out-prepare me, to outwork me. My career had a lot of highlights, you know, all-decade, Pro Bowls, and that sort of thing. We don't have to spend a lot of time there, but you're welcome to come look at the rings. The core goal of my career has been built on a body of work. Not just one game or one play, but I showed up every day asking, what can I do better? What can I accomplish next? Challenging myself every day and every down. The lessons that I learned in football set me up not just for success in the game, but also in life. Work hard. Be meticulous in your preparation. Support your teammates. Respect your opponents. Surround yourself with people who share your values. Put your family first. Do the little things right and the wins will take care of themselves. And that may be the real lesson here. At its heart, football tests your ability to trust. Trust your teammates, trust your coaches, trust your preparation. And when you focus on the essentials, the doors that open up are the right ones to walk through. I've even tried to pay back the experience that I got from my teammates by being generous with guys who were behind me. I never saw it as, you know, the young guns were coming from my job. I saw them as being a teammate. Their success was our success. And just to that point, just listening to Tracy's story, that's who she was as well. So, again, as I think about my teammates, I first have to start by honoring my most important teammate, my wife, Tanya, my high school sweetheart. I tell everybody all the time, Tanya has been in my life and saw my first snap and also saw my last snap. Our personal record is 4-0 with 4 beautiful kids that are here. RJ, Richard Jr. right here, he's at the University of Kentucky. Kayla is, and all the cheerleaders would appreciate this, Kayla is at Spelman, the top HBCU in the country. Kayla, she's flying in later. She said, Dad, I'm going to come into the game, but I know you're going to do your thing there. And she had a lot of work to do at school, so she couldn't be here today, but she's coming in later, so thank you, Kayla. Kennedy, so we got 2 out of the house and we still have 2 in the house. And I'll say this, Kennedy makes up for the 2 that's leaving, because I'm telling you, I got my work cut out right here. Nobody told me girls would be like this, but Kennedy, I love you, sweetheart. Londino, this is London's first year of football. And I told London, true story, I told London, I said, London, you're actually better than I was at your age, right? He's better than I was, but I told him it remains to be seen if he's going to work as hard as his dad did. So, I have so many people to thank. I'm not sure if Coach Belichick's around, but I got to thank the greatest defensive mind ever. Coach Belichick challenged me. He taught me the values of being, like I said, being meticulous in terms of your preparation. We were just in the reception right before we came out, and when we always watch film, Coach Belichick would say, some guys would be on the injury report, and they were on the injury report, and nobody knew if they were going to play or not that week, right? But Coach Belichick, he'd circle them. He'd say, you know what? You see his shoulder, his knee. The injury report says this, but hey, Ty Jarvis, don't worry. He'll be there, right? That was his thing. Don't worry. He'll be there. So I'll say this, not saying that I could come out and play against the Jets tomorrow, but Coach Belichick, if you ever need me, I'll be there. I also say this about Coach Belichick, and Tanya can attest to this. He would always send the kids Christmas gifts, and that's just something where life transcends football, and he would do the little things. He would always send RJ, Kayla, and Kennedy, and all the rest of the kids, different plaques and that sort of thing. So I think in life you always appreciate the small things that people do for you. So. I don't know if he wanted me to tell y'all that, but I'm just letting you guys know. But Coach want to keep it in, right? Like I said, there's so many people here to thank, but I think I have to start also at the top. Mr. Kraft family, Jonathan, Dan, everyone here. Your leadership is started everything that's here. And it's from this family that putting in the right coaches, the right leadership, doing the little things right is what set the tone for the entire organization. It set the tone for not only here, you think about everything that makes up New England, I'll say this, we're very fortunate to have an owner and a group that is as dedicated and want to win and want to put the best product on the field as we have in the Kraft family. So let's give them. I'll also tell you, I say Mr. Kraft here, but he knows in private I call him the Godfather. So, he'll call me and he'll be talking like, hey, Richard, But like I said, I think we all think about the special bond, like you extended and been so gracious to me and my family and my wife over in Israel, as you spoke of earlier. And those are lifelong memories. And I'll also say this. In 2003, my father passed away. And one of the first calls that I got was from Mr. Kraft. And not only a call, but Coach Belichick, Romeo Crennel, Pepper Johnson, and like I said, the Kraft family, they flew down on their private jet and was there in the time of need for me. So it's the little things like that, Mr. Kraft, that I always, and me and Tanya always hold near and dear to our heart. And so I also say this. In 2008, I was an Oakland Raider, and Mrs. Kraft passed away. And we knew when the arrangements were, and it wasn't even a doubt. Even though I was in Oakland at the time, it was never a doubt that I'd be there for you in your time of need as well. So thank you, Mr. Kraft. Cheers. I don't want to be long-winded, but it's a few people that has been inspirational in my life. When I first got here, the first guy that I saw was Willie Mack. And he stood 6'6", from the LBC. He had his braids down his back. He had a little gangster lean to him. And I'll say this, he took me in like a brother. He taught me how to be a pro, how to do the little things right. Our families had Thanksgiving together, our kids hung out. It was all the little things that I appreciate. And also Willie Mack, that whole entire week, and we had workouts, but you were there with me as well when my father passed away. And I'm just so grateful for the example that you set, and not only just talking about it, but like you led by your actions as well. So I always consider you a brother, and as I said, anything you need from me, you know we're never but a phone call away. So thank you, Willie Mack. Yeah, love you too, brother. I remember the first time I was here, and the first time I got hurt, I got banged up a little bit, but I was at practice the next day. It wasn't a big deal. And we're in the stretching line, and Teddy looks over to me. He said, Richard, you got treatment today? Did you get that taken care of? And, you know, I'm a rookie at the time, and I'm like, nah, I didn't get no treatment. I mean, I'm good. I'll be all right, you know. And he was like, well, you want to be in this league a long time, you have to do the little things. You got to take care of yourself. This is not college where y'all play 12 games anymore. We play 16 plus playoffs and Super Bowl here. And so that example that you set too, Teddy, you know, it's one thing when coaches tell you what to do, but when you have players who are veterans and they lead by example, I think that's the ultimate leadership. So thanks, TB. Actually, to that point, who's the trainer now? Because actually I need a little treatment on my back. I really do. My D linemen that are here, Jarvis Green, Ty Warren. There's so many guys that have meant so much to our success. And I remember we had a coach from Buffalo. He came in and he was with us. I know Jarvis, he was an assistant D-line coach. He came in with us for a while. But in our D-line room, like we were very loose. We always had a great time and, you know, just tripping out and hanging. And so the coach was like, hey guys, you guys need to be a little bit more serious. You know, he had kind of had a little military background and I understood, but we were like, you know what, coach, we got it. Don't worry about it. Just put the big three on the field. We'll get it done. I also want to take a moment to say to Ty Warren and also Kevin Falk, if we could send some love to Ty and Kevin Falk at this time, both of them lost their baby girls. And I couldn't imagine that, but as a teammate, when you hurt, we hurt. When you guys were going through what you were going through, I felt the pain. So if we could all just give them some love right now. To my extended family, my teammates from high school, Bulldogs, everywhere that I've played. I've had the honor of being your captain. The trust that you put in me pushed me to work even harder for our success. At the end of the day, earning your respect is what mattered most to me. When I even think about it, my opponents that I played against, I wanted to earn their respect as well. I wanted them to say at the end of the day, this guy doesn't quit, he doesn't give up, he fights to the whistle. And trust me, I had a lot of guys to fight with, but I was honored to do it. I don't know if being in the Patriots Hall of Fame brings with it the expectation that I have wisdom for those coming behind me. But just in case it does, I want to leave you with this. Take care of the details. Put people first. Be willing to learn and be even more willing to share. Because we're all always better and stronger together. Most of all, trust that the path that opens up are the ones where you have the most to learn, the most to give, and also the biggest difference to make. Today, I'm extremely honored and I'm proud to be your newest elected member into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Richard, thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Brian Morey up to the stage, along with three of Richard's former teammates. Let's give a warm round of applause as we invite former Patriots Ty Warren, Willie McGinnis, and Teddy Bruschi.
Did not. Well, we have an amazing panel here today. Four of the players who created a defensive dynasty here in New England, 11 Super Bowl rings among them. Flying in from Texas, first round pick, fellow defensive lineman, Ty Warren. Winning the award for the furthest travel from Los Angeles, Willie McGinnis. And fellow Patriots Hall of Famer, Teddy Bruschi. But first, we start with today's honoree. Richard, if we go back to 2001, I remember when you came in here the day after you were drafted, Gillette Stadium was just a shell. The Patriots Hall of Fame presented by Raytheon Technologies wasn't here yet.
Right.
What do you remember about arriving in Foxborough?
Well, when I first got here, we were still in the old stadium. Like Gillette wasn't even built yet, right? And so it was just the structure of the building. And also to that point, with the structure being here, I remember Mr. Kraft saying, you know what? As he said in his speech, you're going to be a great foundational piece for us. And so the way that I grew up, I never wanted to disappoint and I didn't want to let anybody down. And I always wanted to over-deliver, if you will. And so hopefully I was able to do that.
Well, you guys all lost a dear friend and teammate last month in David Patton. You have a terrific story about you and David driving up here for minicamp. Can you share that story with us?
Yeah, so David Patton, God bless him, but we're both from South Carolina, right? And so we were on the same flight to get back to minicamp. And when we were on that flight, once we got to D.C., the flight was canceled. Bad weather and the whole deal. And so I was like, well, we'll just get up in the morning and take the morning flight. But David was like, hey, Richard, I'm a free agent. You're a first-round draft pick. We need to drive up tonight. And I'm like, well, you know what? My teammate, I'm not going to let him down. So I was like, well, I'm going to just be honest with you, Dave. I'm tired. I'm not in a position to drive right now. So if you want to start out, and David told me, he was like, Richard, don't worry about this. I used to drive 18-wheeler trucks, so I can get it done. And a 7-hour drive, I could bang that out, no problem. We get the car, for whatever reason, it didn't have gas in the car. And so I'm like, and it's about midnight, right? So we're gassing up, and I'm in the passenger seat, but I've kind of reclined my seat back because I'm ready to take a nap. And I wake up by 2.5 hours later. The gas pump is in the car. David's right beside me, sleep. He's right beside me, sleep at that moment. So I pushed him, wake up. But anyway, we ended up getting here, hustling in, and we might have had like 15, 20 minutes to spare. And we got here, we practiced, we did everything, and we're sitting after practice and everything over with. I'm looking at Dave like, I don't know how tired you are, man, but my eyes are red. I was so tired at that moment. So, but anyway, that's David Patton, man. I'll tell you, it's
a great story. Willie, you and Richard became very close very quickly upon his arrival. What was the connection there? Why did that happen?
Well, first of all, like Richard was a mature man when he came in. His leadership skills, the way he carried himself, conducted himself, his mentality, and the organization and coaches did a great job of drafting and bringing in character guys, because that's what the foundation before all this started was. And we had like a cult, you know, Brew and these guys will tell you, we had a cult that we were about team over individualism. And when Richard came in, he checked all the boxes. And it was just something about him and his want to, like he said, play at a high level, definitely competitive in everything you could think of. Competitive, he had the mentality, he was tough, he was a physical specimen, and the staff had already told us that he was going to be an intricate part of our defense, and we needed him to be mentally ready and physically ready to go right now, which he did. He hit the ground running. It was because of him why a lot of the linebackers had a lot of our success. And he was unselfish. But not only that, it was his upbringing and where he came from was kind of like where I came from. And I think people like that always connect right away, and you can feel each other and you can vibe. And as soon as we started talking, he's been my brother ever since. So it wasn't hard, you know. Raised right, balanced life came in. The football stuff was secondary compared to who he was and why we connected.
We have some great leaders on this stage right now. Teddy, Richard was named the captain in his second year here. What do you remember about Richard Seymour, 2001, 2002?
Okay.
Not only what he did on the field, but off.
I got it. This is what I need to tell all of you, okay? When I'm here with Big C and Ty and Willie, I just feel more powerful, okay? And I just want to give you a perspective. It's a lot of perspective that you all won't see, but I'm going to give you perspective on how my job was made easier. If you three can just stand right here, side by side. Seriously, stand right here, side by side. Side by side. You just stand, shoulder to shoulder, right here, right here. Yeah. Now, can you see me? This is what it's like playing linebacker for us. Okay, come on, sit down, fellas. And now it's like, you see? So all I'm trying to say is him and especially this guy today, the minute he was drafted, you're talking about a 2-year captain. That, of course, is a lot of respect to garner that quickly, but the skill was just evident. And let me tell you a story about the 3 Super Bowls we won together. Against the Rams, we played a front called tilt, okay? It's like a 4-man front, all right? It's a 4-man line. Against the Carolina Panthers, we played base 3-4, all right? Against the Philadelphia Eagles, we played a front, it was called Dolphin. Those are 3 completely different fronts. And that's a big reason why we could do that, because we had Richard Seymour up there doing various things that we could put him anywhere we wanted to be, and then we could be successful with it. So when you have that type of talent and domination from that position, I mean, it's just, that's how you win championships. And combine that with his leadership and being the captain was another thing. So just from day one, a rookie being that extraordinary was so special. Next story I want to tell you is this. All right, since you got that. His block kick thing, okay? How many block kicks were there? Like 7 block kicks. Now, I've said this before. Now, you don't know the power you have when you're behind a 300-plus pound man and you're pushing both his butt cheeks, okay? So, imagine Richard Seymour in a stance like that. On the snap, someone's pushing Tiny, so I'm pushing Big C, Willie's coming out, and we're just mowing people down. And my only thought before that snap is this: man, I feel sorry for you guys. Oh, man. And so that's how the whole block kick thing was done, and he was just so good at just 1, 2, 3, raised. And that was, you just talking the special teams aspect of it now. You see how excited I get talking about my D linemen? But I'm just so proud, and I'm telling you, I told Big C this when we're back there, this is gonna go red to gold, because I truly believe he was one of the best defensive linemen of our era in the league.
Brian, and Brian, really quick, if one thing you guys don't know about C is he's a big man, but he wants to be like smaller, versatile linebacker, athletic. So we also had another package that we call rabbits. And when the touchdown you saw C pick up and run all the way down, that was the rabbits package. It was all linebackers.
I wasn't supposed to be on the field.
It was all linebackers and Seymour, because he felt like he was one of the biggest, fastest, strongest guys. And when the linebackers was racing and all that, he found his way on the field. So he was a special athlete, because that package was supposed to be for only linebackers. He was the only D lineman on there. Sorry, Ty.
All right, I got another story. Let me get a story. I got another story. Here we go. One more. And this,
We got a time limit here.
Yeah, no, forget about time. That's like a producer in your ear. It's like rap. No, I'm not rapping. No, okay. Here we go. This is when I knew this was a bad man. This was a bad man. Okay, I forget what game it was, but it got heated out there. And when it gets heated out there, guys will push. I mean, I saw him fight Logan Mankins how many times on the practice field, and that's a lot of beef going at it. And I'm like, ooh, stay out the way. But during the game, he's fighting guys. Willie's always there, got his back, and there's me. You saw me, I'm behind in the little pile, right? Big C says something to this other offensive lineman, and then they start fighting. It's like, oh, you this, no. I'll meet you at the bus. And I went, oh, no, he didn't. Damn. This dude is bad.
True story. Me and Willie was at the bus.
And I was like, we gonna be bad for a long time.
And then he'll give you that point right at the end. After he ragdoll you a little bit, then yeah, I'm going to see you. So go back and look at some of that old film when you...
Well, let's get to Ty here. Ty, you came in 2003, won a Super Bowl your rookie year like Richard. Richard was in his 3rd season. How did he help you along with that group? Some defensive linemen, vet guys there, Washington and Bobby Hamilton. How did Richard help you along?
Man, C helped me a whole lot. And, just coming from Texas, a lot of people say, the Texas guys are weird, because I was kind of... Right? I mean, they say, we kind of confined. We think Texas is the only thing going on in the world, right? And so, I get up here and, I meet Seymour and I meet, Willie's locker is like the first locker that you see when you come into the locker room. And so, man, one thing about C, he had morals, he had structure built in his life. You can see, you didn't have to talk to him after practice. Hey, little fella. Let's go out to practice, go get these steps in. Let's go get these hands in. Let's go work on these little things, like he said. And so it was always that. It was always that. And then, you know, C is very competitive. C made me a better person because I thought I was competitive, right? And we were both competitive, so we were always trying to get an edge on each other. I don't care if it was drinking water faster or, you know, finishing your chicken breast faster. I mean, you know, if you had a soda and I had a soda, maybe I cracked my soda all the way open. He probably just barely cracked it so you have more at the end of the day. You know, it's just all that type of stuff. So, I mean, but Seymour was just always, he had morals, he had structure. Every day he showed up to work. He was always willing to come in and refine little things that I wasn't doing right, things that guys like Willie and Brewski, I mean, these guys on the side of me here, I mean, Willie, I remember being in practice, and I mentioned this with him the other day, and we were, you know, in practice, and we were going through this little perimeter drill, and so Willie's deal was setting the edge, so the tackle comes off, and I think it was just kind of, you know, basic, you know, base block or something like that. And so I'm playing the base block, but I'm trying to shuffle around, and I step on Willie's feet. And so Willie, after the play, he looks at me and say, "Little fella, stay in your lane." So I'm like, damn, I can't do nothing right now, you know what I mean? And then you had Brewski in the back, you know, if you get out of gap or something like that, you know, if you don't know Brewski, you'll think that on the field that he was a butthole, and he was, but he had to be, you know, he had to be, and I love that about him. But he had no problem getting you in line, telling you where you need to be, where you need to go, and just that locker room at the core was just based on the foundation of leaders. Everything that everybody said here today.
Okay, well, hey, you got a red jacket. Hopefully next summer you'll have a gold one. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great job.
We weren't done. We weren't done yet.
No, I'm just kidding.
We got more?
All right, stand by because we've got one more surprise for you. It's my great pleasure to welcome the greatest coach in NFL history. Since taking over the Patriots in 2000, he's guided the team to 17 division titles, 9 AFC championships. He's the only head coach in history to win 6 Super Bowls. Let's welcome Patriot head coach Bill Belichick.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, what a day. Yeah, first of all, thank you. Thanks everyone for coming out. You know, it's great to see the great support, and just want to recognize you know, Tracy's induction as well, and all of her supporters from all of us. And you know, she certainly added a lot to this organization and to the spirit of the organization, and deeply appreciative of that. But you know, turning to Richard, what an honor it was to coach him. I just can't really put into words what it's like to have a player, a person like Richard Seymour on your team. And we were just so fortunate to be able to have Richard, and to have Richard play the way that Richard played, all the things that he brought to the team, not just his playing ability, but things like preparation and you know, things that have been mentioned about him, his values, his honesty, his trust, his unselfishness. And so I think back to watching him at Georgia, and I want to say his junior year, every single player on that defense was drafted. I mean, telling you, there were some dogs there now. I mean, real dogs. And so you know, when Richard came here, we played him at nose his first year, and it was really playing him out of position. We knew it, I knew it, he knew it, we all knew it. But you know, we had Behan, we had AP, we had other players that couldn't do that, and he very unselfishly went in there and was part of this 2001 championship team and a big part of it. But I'd say one of the many impressive things about Big C was just the maturity and willingness to take on a new challenge, to really play a position he'd never played before. At least I didn't see he played at Georgia. He played 2 technique, 3 technique, but not on the nose. That's a whole different world in there. You know, ask Vince, ask C, ask anybody who's been in there. It's a whole different world. But you know, he played it well, and then ultimately transitioned later after we got Ted and Keith and Vince, you know, back outside to really his more natural position. But it's so rare to have a player that can play all those spots. That could play 5 technique, play 3 technique, play 4 technique, play 2 technique, play on the nose in all situations. First down, second down, third down, fourth down, you name it. He could play it, you know. And when you go through personnel evaluations for drafts and things like that, you know, a lot of times you'll say, well, this guy's sort of like that guy, and this guy's sort of like that guy. There's nobody like Richard Seymour. There's no, well, this guy's like Seymour. Like, no, he's not like Richard Seymour. And they just don't come along. They're a generational type player, athletically and talent-wise, but then, you know, the bigger part of it is just what Richard brought to this team, this organization as a person. And again, his maturity, he listened, he was very receptive to coaching, he tried to do what you asked him to do. Might not always been his favorite thing, but that wasn't important. He did what the team needed him to do, and it brought us a lot of wins and a lot of championships. And I know a lot of plays have been referenced here about the fumble return and the sacks and you know, all those plays, and rightfully so. See, he made a lot of them, and a lot of the interceptions that other guys made, he caused them. Willie's interception against was that Miami? We batted up to you on that screen pass. You know, plays like that where C, you know, was disruptive and something good happened for somebody else. But you know, some of the plays I think about, and I showed them to the team, you know, and we see them all the time. Is Seymour's block on the punt, on Troy Brown's punt return against Cleveland. You know, that doesn't go in the stat sheet, but those are the kind of plays I think about. When I think about Anna Vinatieri's snowball field goal, which is the greatest kick of all time, right? There is no field goal without Seymour's charge on the goal line out and Brewski's tackle on the goal line out that got the ball back for us. And then Troy Brown returned the punt, and you know, we hit a couple of passes and Vinatieri makes the kick. But it's those plays like that, the goal line out, the punt return play. You know, we get down to Miami, and I don't know how many years it had been that we didn't win in Miami back in 2003. It seemed like 20. I don't know. I heard about it every year. And we go down there, and the game-winning field goal, Richard blocks. Now, that was one of the 7. And, of course, then that set up Troy's 83-yard touchdown pass to win in Miami. But, again, that touchdown pass doesn't happen, you know, if Seymour doesn't block the field goal. And those are the kind of plays that I think about with Richard that really impact me, because they're not really his plays, but he makes the plays to help the team win, in addition to all the other great plays that he makes. And again, we, on a regular basis, and really all you guys, from Brew to Willie to Tiny, Kevin, Troy Brown, we look at the way those guys played, and we look at the way that Richard controlled blockers, held his gap, played the technique properly, and we use those as the teaching films, you know, for the guys that have, you know, long since those guys have left. But, you know, even today we go back and we look at those films from, now they're kind of grainy. I mean, they're not the clearest film in the world, but we can see what we're looking for, and Seymour is really a really good football player at everything. And so again, when I say, you know, there's no real comparables, there aren't. Never coached a player like Richard. The skill, the intelligence, the versatility, the work ethic, the dedication, the willingness to do things that he hadn't done before, and then perfect them, is just rare. And you know, his family, and Tanya and the kids, and I appreciate your comments about the books and all that. I don't mind that. I know cat's out of the bag, man. By the way, I could use a fireplace set for Christmas if you don't mind that. But you know, it's just was such a privilege to have coached Richard and all the other Red Jackets up here, other than Tippett and Coach Tipp, but all the other Red Jackets up here that have meant so much to the organization, and you can just see, you know, from the kind of little, you know, discussion those guys had a few minutes ago, the camaraderie, the love for each other, the passion for each other, for what they accomplished, what they did together, and you know, to be able to come back and share those words and those memories, you know, now gives me great pride and joy to know that I was, you know, had a little part in having all that come together, and to see you guys enjoy each other so much. So again, thank you for coming out today. Appreciate the support, and just to reiterate what Brian and several others have said up here, you know, I hope that next August we should be celebrating the Gold Jacket Hall of Fame induction of Richard Seymour. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for attending our 13th induction ceremony for the Patriots Hall of Fame presented by Raytheon Technologies. And as we conclude this ceremony, I want to ask all of our Patriot Hall of Famers to just hang right here on stage with the Krafts so we can get a couple of final group photos. So just hang on for a moment. Patriots Hall of Fame, we remind you, is open until 6 o'clock tonight, selling tickets until then. So thank you for spending your afternoon with us. And don't forget, we got a game tomorrow. Go Pats!